Yesterday, a few of us spent some time walking a labyrinth located at a nearby church. For those of you who aren't real familiar with labyrinths, they have a long history, even extending back to the Bronze Age. Within the Christian tradition, they have been used as a part of worship since medieval times. If you've never walked a labyrinth, you ought to try it and see what kind of feelings arise from your experience. Yesterday, as I considered our church's 28th anniversary, the labyrinth felt like a metaphor for our church's calling. But I also think it serves as a metaphor for our individual walks with God. And so I want to share a few of the thoughts that came from that walk. One of the first things you notice as you begin to walk the twisting, turning path of a labyrinth is you feel it has no direction. No sooner do you feel as if you're moving closer to the center of the labyrinth than you find the path takes you toward the labyrinth's outer edge. You have to trust in the path that has been laid out before you. The 28-year history of this church has been a twisting, turning path too. At times we have felt focused and moving in the right direction. And at other times, the path has taken us through some periods when we felt maybe a little bit lost, wondering where we were going. But the key lies in an attitude of trust in the one who has laid out the path before us. Today's reading from Isaiah urges us to trust in God. It reminds us that we are redeemed and God has called each of us by name. It goes on to say, when you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they shall not overwhelm you. When you walk through fire, you shall not be burned, and the flame shall not consume you. The text doesn't say if there are raging rivers to cross, or if there are blazing infernos in your life. It says when. When you pass through the waters, and when you walk through the fire. If there is a promise in life, it's that we will find ourselves in places that we would rather not be. Places that are on the outer edges. Places that feel as if they are far away from our source of being. But we need to hold on to our faith. We need to trust in the path and trust in the one who has laid the path out for us. Because although it may seem like it has no direction, the path always leads to the center. In fact, that's the difference between a maze and a labyrinth. In a maze, you get lost because of all of its dead ends. But in a labyrinth, it's impossible to get lost. All you have to do is move forward, putting one foot in front of the other. In our second reading, God speaks through the prophet Jeremiah, saying, surely I know the plans I have for you, plans for your welfare and not for harm, to give you a future with hope. We can place our trust in God because we know that God's plans are for our welfare and not harm. And God's desire is to give us a future with hope. We just can't get lost if we are willing to move forward, placing one foot in front of the other. If we're able to hold on to our faith, then the path in front of us will always eventually take us to God, who is the center of our being. But not everyone is as concerned about where the path leads as you might think. If you watch people walk the labyrinth, you'll notice something important. People walk the path in different ways at different rates for different reasons. And it's all good. Watch youngsters walking, and they'll skip through the path, laughing and squealing and making a game of it. They'll break all the rules by hopping over the borders of the path. And it's good. Stick around and you'll see someone who is going through a tough time in her life. And she may walk the path ever so slowly, praying to God through the whole process. And it's good. I've watched lovers walk a labyrinth holding hands, whispering to each other and giggling along the way. And it's very good. It's all good. Throughout the 28-year history of Central Texas MCC, people have joined with us for different reasons walking our path. And it's all good. Some have been attracted to us because our church community is an oasis in a culture of judgmentalism. Our church is a good place for healing to take place. And that's as good a reason as any to join with us. Some people appreciate the social connection. They experience God in potlucks and picnics, in laughter and social events. Community is what's important to them. They are the children who skip through the labyrinth, unconcerned with the rules. And we need them in our lives so we don't become somber and sour in our religion. Some come to church looking for that special someone in their life. They ache for intimacy and romance. They want to share their life with someone. And what better place to find a healthy relationship than at church? And so they also join us on this labyrinth path. And it's good. It's very good. Just as people walk the labyrinth path in different ways, at different speeds, and for different reasons, so too have people joined with our church over the last 28 years, worshiping God each in our own way, walking our path at our own speed, and drawn to this community of believers for many different reasons. And it's all good. And there's one final observation I have about the labyrinth. You may feel frustrated because with all its twists and turns, it seems like you're going nowhere fast. But once you arrive at the center, you might feel an anticlimax. Okay, you've arrived at the center. Now what? You make an important discovery. You discover that it's all about the journey, not the destination. And so having learned that important lesson, as you exit the labyrinth, following the path that you took to the center, you may take a little more time noticing things along the way. The broken rock, the flower, the bird song, the butterfly. Excuse me. If there's a lesson for us all, it's that it's all about the journey, not the destination. We aren't called to ministry so we can receive our reward in heaven. That's not what salvation is all about. It's not about the crowns we'll be wearing in the afterlife. The ministry of this church is about the journey. It's about the people we encounter along the way and how we respond to them. It's about the opportunities to make a difference in the world. It's about the transformation that takes place within each of us as we go about the business of transforming the world. It's about the journey. The journey of Central Texas MCC has been a good one. It's a journey that began 28 years ago with a small group of 4 or 5 people who began to meet for worship in the back room of a local club. The group continued to meet wherever possible, in private homes or even in the park, throughout the first year, until in May of 1986, it was recognized by metropolitan community churches as a new work. But the journey isn't all about the past. It's also about the future. And all of you are a part of that future. A future with hope, as the prophet Jeremiah said. So let's celebrate. We have a past of which we can be proud and a future to which we can look forward. Happy birthday, Central Texas MCC. May God bless us all as we continue to walk the path that has been laid out before us. And may we trust in God's care and protection as we move forward into the future. Amen.